Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Unparalleled Universe, Odious The Living Curse. If Saturday morning cartoons fueled your imagination as a kid and powers your action figure collecting now as an adult, then you're in the right place. Thanks for stopping by and welcome to Saturday Morning Toy Collector. And if you like my content, please consider subscribing. Okay, so before we get started here with the review, I do want to give a special shout out and thanks to my good buddy Scott, lives here in town, who purchased this figure because he loves Mezco 1/12 scale stuff, and he purchased this figure, and he shared his thoughts with me, and I was like, hey, do you mind if I borrow it so I can do a review for it and share my thoughts as well, because this just wasn't something that I was interested in or thought about picking up. So he was like, yeah. So shout out to Scott for letting me do that. I love the plaid texture here on the front of the box and the artwork. Have some artwork there on the side. His name on the side there, Odious. I like the artwork on the back better. The Living Curse. Once a man, Odious sacrificed his soul to save his people, a sacrifice that sentenced him to eternal torment, an unwilling parasite cursed to live lives that aren't his own while consuming the bodies of anyone who sheds blood upon his stone remains. Those unlucky souls must give up their place on this earth to Odious the Living Curse. You've got the Unparalleled Universe logo right there, and then what is that? I don't know what that logo is right there, but let's go ahead and get this opened up because I have seen inside of it, and I do like the logo there. But what's really cool is what's underneath of this package. I'm gonna get to that in just a second, but here you can see it laid out and everything in there. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 heads, a whole bunch of sets of hands here. We've got a weapon, the figure there. Let's lift this out. Because I'm really interested in what's going on back here. I dig this. Oh, we got another little baggie with a little shirt in it. And then I like this design idea of like little paper clippings from different newspapers with arrows and things circled and like push pins. And I think this is neat. This whole cryptid idea, these like urban legends, things reported about in papers. I think that's really cool. To me, that's the most interesting thing about the package, and I dig it. So let's get this guy opened up and see what he can do. Starting off here with the different sets of hands, he does have two open like gesturing gripping hands, and these are they on ball joints? Okay, they're on ball joints at the wrist, but the hinge on the hand itself is a horizontal, and I think that that's the same case with every set of hand. They're all horizontal hinges here. But those look really nice. Here we have some wide open like slashing hands. You can see the nails on there. The insides of the hands are painted as well. We have another set of a set of gripping hands, so maybe they can grip the weapon with this set of hands here, or any other kind of style weapon or accessory you want to put in his hands. We have another set of kind of grasping or clawing, slashing hands, but these are a little bit tighter than the first set. You can see the fingers are a little more curled downward than that first set. I do like the painting on the inside there. Next up, we have two fists for some Sasquatch Bigfoot punching action. And then we have two tighter gripping hands. Now, these are definitely a tighter grip than the first set of gripping hands that we looked at. You can see that they're much, much tighter. Maybe they hold his particular weapon with these hands. And maybe the other hands are for like other accessories you'd want to give him that are like 1/12 scale. And then we have two, pointing fingers or smell my finger hands. And these look really cool. I think that's a nice touch to give him those little hands. And yeah, do these have any left and right movement? No, it's just horizontal. Then we get to the head. So we have one head here. They all have the white eyes, and it looks like he's kind of smirking, looking off to one side. The smirk is off to one side. It's given, big Harry and the Henderson vibes here. Here's more of a surprised look. I do like the white paint on the eyes. I think it's applied very nicely. It's a nicely sculpted head. Then we have, we're starting to get a little bit angrier. Somebody's starting to take his Slim Jims but we have one squinted eye, one open eye. Next up, we have his angry head with the teeth bared, and he's going full aggro here, just spinning around. Look at that head, look at the hair. You can see how it connects, and yeah, he's looking pretty angry. Now, next up, we have another quizzical look. I think this is very similar to the first one. It's just that the smirk is he's not smirking. His kind of lip is just like straight on. But yeah, these heads will give you a time. It is hard to unpeg them and peg them back on because they the net peg is very tight. Have some hot water or maybe a heat gun handy when changing the heads out. Next up, we get this nice weapon here that looks like some sort of gorilla or monkey simian style ape skull that's been painted silver. It's on this wooden staff. It's got some leather wraps, some white wraps. It's got a little silver pommel there. It's nicely painted. And then we have the shirt, and this shirt is very similar to the shirt that's on him in the package. It's just that the one that's on him in the package does not have sleeves, and this is fully sleeved. So if you want to take the coat off and put him in this one, you can. Has the same Velcro closing and that same hood that's on it. I think it's really nice. And here is a very slow spin of Odious standing straight up and down, straight out of the package. For those of you who may not know, this figure was created by Wade Merrick, who is the toy reviewer over at Unparalleled Universe. This was his sort of like brainchild, his baby. It was his own original character, and so that's where this guy came from. And we're going to take a closer look at Odious here. We've got like the base body here. So you can see here how the undershirt that comes on him in the package is sleeveless, and that is so that he has more range of motion in his arms with the coat on. I do think this overcoat is nice. It doesn't hinder his movement too much. I love the hood. The hood feels just like kind of like shrunk down sweatshirt material. I think it hangs very nice. There's no wire in it. I think that would have been really nice to add a wire in there, but there is wire along the front edge and bottom edge of this coat. You can see just how thin the material is. You can see my light shining through it, and there's a wire on the bottom edge, but not in the split in the back, and not where you see these panels sewed together. It does, because it's lightweight. I think the wire is a nice gauge. It does hold the coat very well to get it in some nice poses. It runs down this other side as well and along the bottom, but again, not along that split in the back. So if you wanted to like get like a wind-blown look, you can certainly achieve that, because I think the weight of the material and the weight of the wire inside the coat are nice. And like I said, I really like the feel of the material for the coat and the hood. The shirt and the pants are kind of a little different story for me. I'm not the biggest fan of these pants specifically. Everything's Velcroed, but they don't really stay up on him very nice. He's a very slender body. When we check that out underneath, you'll see what I'm talking about. And the pants just feel like they want to fall off of him. They feel nice, but I just think there could have been a little bit better way to connect maybe the shirt and the pants. The Velcro is the way to go, but maybe just a little cleaning that up a little bit. I believe the frayed edge on the bottom of the pants is on purpose. I think this is due to his character, maybe finding clothes that don't quite fit him, or maybe they're rough and rugged around the edges. But I do like the hood and the strings. As far as articulation goes, with the outfit on, he can look all the way up, he can look all the way down. It's a double ball peg, so you get tons of range of motion in there. You can move this guy's head all the way around. Even with the coat on, you can go all the way out to the side and hit that T pose, no problem. You can't quite like really get the arms to go all the way around. You probably could if you futzed around with the material enough, but it's kind of unnecessary. Nobody can really do that in real life anyway, so why do it? I definitely can feel like a butterfly joint in there on the shoulder, for sure. I do feel like upper bicep swivel. It feels like a double joint here at the elbow, which is nice. You can get that far. The hands on a hinge like we saw, and a swivel. I feel a couple of points of articulation underneath, so he's going to have a pretty decent range. He can crunch forward that far, and he can, let's straighten the arm out, lean back that far, but you're going to get some gaps between his shirt and pants. Let's see, I'm feeling lots of movement in there as far as like rotation at the waist. Legs can kick forward that far. You can see that, very unsightly gap at the bottom of the foot. Legs can go all the way out that far. They can lean back that far. Feels like a double joint at the knee, but it only goes back about that far right there, which is not bad. I do feel either a thigh cut or like an upper hip swivel there at least. And then we have a no boot cut, and then we have like a hinge. What do we got going on? Okay, so double. So we've got hinge, rocker, and swivel down there, and then we've got some forward-facing pin. We got this foot or toe articulation, which I'm not a fan of, and it's very loose and kind of floppy, and so I wonder how that's going to affect him standing and posing. When we get to that. And here we have a look at the base body, and I was really hoping that this base body was going to do a lot for me. I was hoping that this guy would look really good with the clothes off, so you could have like a basic Sasquatch or Bigfoot running around in your toy display. But I think this guy was designed to wear clothes, because to me the joints are kind of bulky and kind of unsightly. I think he's a little too skinny in some places. The proportions on this guy are just kind of weird to look at without the clothes on. With the clothes on, he looks perfectly fine. This butterfly joint works pretty good. It seems like it should have a larger range of motion with the amount of the chest that's cut out, but this joint just kind of runs into itself. But that's not a big complaint because he can reach all the way across in front of his body, no problem. So that's good. It just looks like you would get more of a range of motion with that butterfly than you actually get. But also, the joints are very kind of loose and floppy. I'm sure you could put something on there to like stiffen that up, but yeah, just out of the package, they're very loose and floppy. You do get 2 points of articulation here at the chest, but if you rock him all the way back, you're going to get a huge gap. The gap in the back is just as bad. And then this, I think, is like his lower torso area is just a little smooth. It's a little small. There is no upper thigh cut, but that top of the thigh rotates all the way around. And then you do have that double joint knee. There could have been a little more cut out so you could get a little more bend, but you know, that's passable. I think that's certainly passable for what you're the range of motion that you're getting. It's just that outside of the clothes, I just don't like the visible articulation on this guy. It just looks a little weird to me. Now, as far as sizing goes, he's not larger than a standard 6-inch figure. You know, bringing in some of, you know, the smaller figures that we have here. We've got a Marvel Legends Spider-Man here, even though he's on a stand. You know, you can see he doesn't stand much taller than that. Here we have a Star Wars Black Series, even though we're using a smaller one. That's Luke. I still think this guy is roughly in that 6-inch range. Here he is pretty much neck and neck with a Hasbro G.I. Joe Classified Series figure. Let's bring in a Mezco 1/12 scale, 1/12 collective Pink Skulls guy. You can see how he stands up against that guy. Here he is next to Bilbo's Broken Shield for how he poses up next to a Mythic Legions figure. Let's bring in, an Awok with Kali. He's kind of like neck and neck with Kali. And then here he is next to a Masters of the Universe cartoon collection, Too Bad. Now, I don't have any McFarlane figures out right now to be able to compare, but, McFarlane is 7-inch, so he's definitely going to be taller. So let's get this guy under some lighting and into some poses and see what he can do. I'm very thankful for Scott for letting me review this figure before he moved it on. He wasn't a big fan of it, and I have to say I'm not a big fan of it. But that has nothing to do with having the figure in hand, because I just wasn't a fan of this design from the get-go. I have been a fan of Unparalleled Universe for a very long time. I love that channel. I love Wade. I love what he brings to the toy community. He's an awesome, awesome dude who I respect and admire so much. And, who am I to knock anything that he created? I mean, having an action figure that you design yourself, that you put your heart and soul into, and having it on the market, I think is the dream and bucket list item supreme of every toy reviewer out there. And congrats to him for making that dream come true. I know others have tried and failed, but this guy actually pulled it off. And he's doing exclusives. I know that I think he's already had one exclusive earlier this year. I think he's going to have an exclusive at Legions Con in November. So kudos to Wade and his team for making this happen, for the Kickstarter, for everybody who backed it. Kudos to him. It's hard for me to say anything bad about a fellow toy tuber, and especially one that is so successful as Wade, and getting his first action figure created. But that is exactly what this feels like. It feels like the very first figure created from somebody who's never made action figures before. There's just a lot of really good ideas here, but they're just not very well executed. And then that may not be Wade's fault. That may be the fault of the production facility that actually produced this figure. Some of the joints are just wonky. Some of the joints are just loose and floppy. I think if he went back to the drawing board and he tightened up some of the tolerances and got a better studio to make it, maybe upgraded the soft goods on the next iteration or the next figure in his, if he's even going to make more figures, I think that would do wonders for this guy. But at the price point, I think this guy's around $70 or $80 or maybe even $90. I'm not sure. I've just never been interested in a Sasquatch figure with clothes on, so I'm super happy that I had one locally that I could borrow from a friend and check out and bring my thoughts on this figure to you guys. So thank you guys so much for tuning in and watching. I super appreciate it. Please continue to check us out over at Instagram at Saturday Morning Toy Collector. I am your Saturday Morning Toy Collector. I'm your host Mark, and I will see you in the toy aisles.